Well, hello there, and welcome to this client attraction masterclass. Notice I said attraction. So, this is going to be a little walkthrough of the key elements you're going to need to create a marketing strategy for your business that you can actually stick to and that will actually work. So, let's dive into it. Firstly, who am I? I'm Siobhan Fox. I am founder and marketing strategist at Reveal Marketing, which I set up nearly 5 years ago. I am also an ADHD business coach. So you will notice that there is a little bit of a flavour to what I'm going to walk you through today. And the ultimate goal is not just to create a marketing strategy, it's to create a marketing strategy and associated plan and habits that you can actually achieve, even if you have an ADHD brain or a brain that thinks differently for some reason. So I'm based in Winchester in Hampshire, and I live in a little village just outside of the city with my son, my husband, and my 2 cats. And I live what I would say is probably quite a slow-paced life compared to how things used to be. Prior to owning a business, I worked for Amazon. So, yeah, you can imagine how hectic that was. And prior to that, a few different roles, client side and agency side, all marketing though. So, enough about me. Let's talk about you. So, what we're doing today, we are looking at how to create your client attraction strategy. So, I guess the way that this might differ from other things that you've looked at is that we are talking about being a lighthouse here. So, putting a beacon out there for your ideal clients to find you rather than you having to go out there and look for them. So we're trying to attract the right clients for you, the people who you actually want to work with, at the right time for them when they are ready to solve their problem. And you're going to solve their problem with the right offer. So we're going to cover all the major questions: why you're doing it, what the ultimate purpose of all of this is for you, who you're looking for, and rather than ideal clients or personas or niche or any of the terminology that you might hear elsewhere that might have some associated baggage for you, I just like to talk about your favourite clients, because ultimately there's a bit of an element of perfectionism to ideal, and that's not life. So I like to talk about your favourites. We're going to talk about what you're going to say, so your core message, where you're going to take that message. So again, your favourite channels. There are a million different channels out there. The best place to start is with the ones you enjoy. Bit of a spoiler alert there. And then how you're actually going to make this happen. So this is about creating marketing habits that are achievable and sustainable, that you will actually do, and that won't end up in the bin. So let's start with your why. Where is your joy? Why do you do what you do? What lights you up about it? Whenever I reevaluate my marketing strategy, which I do probably every 3 to 6 months, I always start with, what is the ultimate purpose of this? What's the point for me? What do I want my life to look like? What does that mean for my business? How can my business support that? What is your version of success? For some people, that might be the nice car on the driveway and lots of holidays abroad and being able to buy nice things. No shade, you do you. For me, for example, it's being able to take my son's school holidays off and have enough money to pay the bills and to be able to take a couple of holidays abroad and to do up our house that we bought last year. I don't really need any more or different stuff. I'm not really bothered about stuff, but I am bothered about adventures and experiences, and about any hours that I spend at my desk that I feel fulfilled and I enjoy what I do and I feel like I'm helping people. I've earned more money in corporate roles before and been so unhappy. So I've learned that lesson, that money doesn't buy happiness, and I have to create my happiness for myself. And yes, a certain amount of money is required to facilitate that, but for me, it's about the quality of my life, not the quantity of what's in my bank account. So have a think about what that means for you. You know, one of my main goals for starting a business was stable mental health. I just wanted to feel better on a daily basis, and I do. So yeah, have a think about how you would measure success for yourself. What would that look and feel like? Really take a moment, close your eyes, and just paint that picture in your head, or, you know, draw it. Some people like to vision board. Whatever it is, however you best engage your imagination, engage it, and just really picture what that ultimate dream looks like. And also think about, along the way, along the journey, because inevitably the things that we're aiming for are not like a destination that we reach. What price are you willing to pay for what you want along the journey? So for me, for example, starting a business and figuring out how to do a 24-hour week and work around my son so I could spend more time with him, it couldn't come at the cost of my mental health. That was a price I wasn't willing to pay. So it's meant I've probably done things more slowly than others around me, but I haven't burned out, and I've enjoyed the journey. So don't just think about the destination, think about all those steps along the journey. What are you willing to sacrifice and what are you not willing to sacrifice? It's really, really important. So however that looks for you, engage your imagination, imagine what it looks like, imagine what that will feel like along the way, what you'll measure, how you'll know whether you're reaching your ultimate goals or not. And then define it in a way that means something to you. You could write a story from your future self that's already there. Like I said, you can vision board, you could create a long-term plan, a project plan, however your brain likes to do these things best. Create something that represents what you're aiming for. Next, we're going to talk about who. So who are your favourite clients? And I'll give you some pointers here. So your favourite clients are often the ones where it feels like you could be besties, whether you end up being besties or not. There's that spark between you. They are great at referring you to other people. They just seem to understand and get what you do. They don't need tons of hand holding, for example. They don't need tons of explaining. They don't say they're going to do it and then change their minds and then come back. They don't quibble over your pricing. And a lot of the time, they just seem to arrive like sold in. Like you don't feel like you need to do a sales call. It's just a chat. And then at the end, they're like, can we work together? And if you're at the beginning of your business journey and you're like, I haven't met one of these yet, then the other thing you can do is think about, who were you before you discovered what you do now, and that then subsequently changed your life. So I always say to people, your favourite clients, your ideal clients, if you like, tend to be you, 3 to 5 years ago, before you had this light bulb moment and discovered what you know now. So that can be another proxy, if you like. So what I like to do, another little visualization, is close your eyes and actually imagine those people in a room, or imagine that you're having a conversation with your past self, and look for obvious filters. So like, a lot of marketing people will preach about niche and say that you need to define your client persona by industry or age or socioeconomic status, a bunch of, quite frankly, meaningless attributes. I have found personally, and for literally all of the clients that I've worked with, that taking a more emotional and more kind of looking at their character, like those kind of angles, are more beneficial and they're much easier to market to. So yes, you might have an obvious filter, like for me, it's business owners with ADHD, really obvious. But I wouldn't call that my, just because you own a business and you're in ADHD, it doesn't mean that you're in my favourite client group. So that's why I like to imagine that group together and say, what do they have in common with each other? So for example, for me, it's the people that are already on their ADHD journey. They've done a reasonable amount of education. They've gotten themselves pretty far. Their business is reasonably successful. And they're looking for specific help with specific goals. They're usually quite ambitious, always creative. That usually plays out in their business role somehow. And there are really specific things that they want help with that span, how they organise their time, how they do things like marketing and sales in an ADHD friendly way. And they are ready to take action. They're ready to get things done. They're not at the beginning of their ADHD journey, and they're not at the beginning of their business journey. So when I imagine those people in a room and I imagine them chatting with each other, I start to pick up, there's something else about them, and there's something, they've all said this to me. And what I do is every time I connect with a new prospect or a new client, is I write down those things that they say. And quite often, if I review it, and this is a really good practice to get into every 2 or 3 months, is to review what have people said in their initial interactions with you about where they're at, or on sales calls. And then I'll go, actually, they've all said, I had one in the last week, I want to stop the world and get off. So I go, okay, what does that mean? And I dig into that. So this isn't a one and done. If you can get into the habit of digging into what are they feeling, what are they saying, what solutions are they looking for, what have they tried before that hasn't worked, what are their ultimate dreams, like where do they want to get to? This isn't just about pain points. This is about really understanding your target market, these favourite clients, and understanding what's going on in their heads. If you're not sure, and you're right at the beginning of your journey, for example, you could do something like sending out a survey and incentivize it by giving away a free session or a free small piece of work. There are lots of ways to get people's feedback. SEO research can be another good way to do that. Sorry, I was having about 14 competing thoughts just then. Understanding what people are typing into Google that relates to what you do. Things like Answer the Public can be fascinating for typing in a search term and understanding what people are searching for around that. Go on to social media, type in the search bar of things like Instagram or LinkedIn, a search term to do with what you do. Follow people that talk about what you do and then look in the comments of what people are asking for. The great thing about the internet is we don't need to be in the dark when it comes to the people we want to attract. They're literally out there talking about their problems. We just need to go and look and do that research. So I cannot stress enough how important that process is, but how possible it is to uncover what people really want and then use that to talk about what you do. But as I said, make sure that you are describing your favourite client group in a way that means something to you and that, you know, says something about their emotional state and what it is they want to achieve. Forget industry and shoe size and inside leg measurement. Like, none of that stuff matters. So we'll move on to what. And this is where hopefully your research will help point you in the right direction. And this is about understanding, okay, so I offer ADHD business coaching, for example. It doesn't tell you anything about the problem that I solve for people. That just says what I do. And really, no one cares what I call it or what I call myself. They just want their problem solved. So, for example, I help people create a business that helps them work with their ADHD brain rather than against it, and that facilitates them having the life that they really want. So their business supports their life. So out of that will come things like work-life flow or balance, helping them create that in a way that works for them. And things will shake out of that, like how they manage their time and what daily marketing habits they have, how they stay on top of all their admin. So it's really about helping people build a business that they love around the life that they want. And that's the core problem I'm solving for people. So out of your research, if you see some common themes and you think, ooh, those are problems I like to solve, start to think about what those problems really mean to people. If you solve that problem for them, what would they then be able to go on and achieve? It's not just about the short-term solution. The short-term solution I'm offering is, you know, a few coaching sessions where we might uncover some things that, you know, you could do differently. But long-term, what does that give people? What are they then able to do? Like, for me, I've watched my clients go off and like launch podcasts, launch group programs, make a lot more money, take one of them was one of their goals was about being able to take the summer holidays off with their kid, and they were able to do that. So those are the dreams that you're selling in. You know, what you are offering is a relatively short-term service or a product, but it's about the long-term impact on that person's life. Like, that's what you're really selling. That's what people are really buying. I always say, like, we get so obsessed with the nuts and bolts of what we do because we've spent all these years and all this time gathering all these skills and all this information, and this, what we do tends to be something we're really passionate about. And we just info dump on people about how awesome this thing we've built is and how it works and the nuts and bolts. And actually, our audience, they don't give a shit. They just want to know, can you solve my problem? Yes or no? What would that look like? And that's why it's so important to share things like client feedback and testimonials and client reviews and client stories and examples of, you know, when you've implemented XYZ thing, what were you then able to go and do? That's what people are really interested in. There's that wonderful phrase, isn't there? Don't sell the sausage, sell the sizzle. Yeah. Sell the sizzle, not the sausage. That's the one. So yeah, think about what that sizzle is. And don't worry about telling people whether it's a gluten-free, vegan, responsibly sourced sausage. No one cares. Tell them that it's going to be the best damn sausage they've ever eaten and it's going to blow their minds. And this is where I have a handy little phrase that can help you start to define your core message. And this kind of goes back to what I was saying about how you define your favorite client group, your niche, whatever you want to call it, is if you can build that picture around people's wants and needs and desires and their emotions, then you can start to draw the box around the problem you're solving rather than the person. So, for example, if somebody put out a targeted Facebook ad and said, are you over 40, perimenopausal, mum, who owns a business, you should come and do our CrossFit classes or whatever, I'd be like, yeah, so what? Like, yeah, I fit in that box, but, that doesn't mean anything about me. But if you said, are you looking to, feel better in perimenopause by lifting weights, getting strong, and taking some time out of your busy life for yourself to look after yourself and feel better, obviously in less words than that, then you've got me. Then I'm hooked. Does it really matter how old I am, whether I'm a business owner or a mum or any of those things? Not particularly. What matters is that deep burning desire within me to do something for myself and make time for myself. So that's what I mean about drawing a box around a problem, not the person. So define the problem, get really super specific on the problem, and the people, and this is what I was saying at the beginning about being the lighthouse, is they will find you because they will see themselves in their words. If you want to look at this another way, if you're not convinced, which is absolutely fine, by the way, spend a week or 2 weeks noticing all the advertising and marketing messages around you, which there are shitloads, especially if you live somewhere like London and you're looking at bus sides and bus stops and the tube and stuff, and just make a note of what you see, what really hooks you in, and what do you resonate with, and what turns you off. And just take a notebook. TV ads, radio ads, just notice it and go, why did I respond to that? Why did I feel like it was talking to me? And what you'll probably begin to notice is that the stuff that's well researched and that's got a good emotional hook is what really pulls you in, and the stuff that feels like it's solving your deepest, darkest problem right now. I always say a great question to answer with your core message is, what wakes your clients up at 3 a.m, worrying about wanting to find an answer for? So from that, you should be able to define your core message. Next, let's talk about where. And I'm going to go against the grain here as a marketer and say, everyone is everywhere. There's this whole idea of go where your clients are. And ultimately, because we've all got one of these little black mirrors in our hand that gives us access to everything, we are everywhere. Think about the amount of places you are online. There is no magical place online where your ideal clients are hanging out that means they're not hanging out anywhere else. Like, yes, if you are trying to target mums, then yeah, there's loads of them on Mumsnet or in Facebook groups that have mum in the title, but that's not the only place they are. They might also be on LinkedIn like me because they have a career and a job. Don't fall into that trap of only looking at your audience one way and thinking they are magically hiding in one place. The most important question actually is to ask yourself, where do you enjoy showing up? Where do you enjoy hanging out online? And wherever you're hanging out, if you can see your clients searching for solutions there, with some of those research options I mentioned earlier, then you're good, you're golden. The Venn diagram slots together, right? And if you think, do you know what? And I get this all the time from my clients, they're like, I'm pretty sure the people I'm trying to attract are on LinkedIn. That seems to be fair, it's very popular at the moment. A lot of people are there. It makes sense for a lot of business owners. But I hate LinkedIn, can't stand it, don't want to post. So it doesn't mean just because you don't enjoy showing up there that you should look elsewhere if you ultimately know this is probably my best option. Is go in and curate your feed, right? Declutter, dial down the noise, unfollow people who trigger you, unfollow boring people. Unfollow anyone who's not deeply fascinating, because ultimately you won't comment on their posts. And whether it's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, doesn't matter. If you're there, your primary job is to engage, not to post. The platforms ultimately are all trying to advertise to you. That's how they make money. That's their profit engine. Is they want maximum time on the platform from all of us. So the more you engage, the more you DM, the more you share people's content, the more you comment, etc., the more seconds you're on the platform, the more of a boost your content will get, because it's a virtuous cycle, because they're trying to keep you there. But if you post and ghost and you don't comment, you don't engage, you won't get anywhere. Actually, if you are starting off from a clean slate on a platform, the best thing you can do, pop a post up so people know who you are and what you're about, and then just spend a couple of weeks engaging. Don't even worry about posting. So there is an option if you do feel that there's a platform that you should be on. So yeah, choose your channels. I should have put choose your channel, because it's so easy to get overwhelmed and to believe that you need to be everywhere. You will be far more efficient and effective if you just show up on one place every day. Think about what you can actually achieve. I think I'm skipping ahead, so let's move on quickly to the how. So what is the bare minimum that you can commit to? Is that actually achievable? I talk to so many people, ADHDers especially, who are like, yeah, so I need to turn up and post twice a day. And I'm like, but can you? Will you? Think about the bare minimum that you can actually achieve. And honestly, I would set the bar quite low, because if you set the bar low, you set yourself up to overachieve, and that's far more satisfying than setting the bar high and not achieving it and then feeling crap. And then if you're anything like me, I have what I like to call the fuck it button. The fuck it button goes off, and then the whole thing goes in the bin. I go, there's no point doing any of it. So, and this is where knowing your strengths and saboteurs as an ADHDer is so valuable. So really, really be honest with yourself. What is the bare minimum? The bare minimum for me, for example, on LinkedIn for probably about the last year and a half, 2 years, is to post 3 times a week. Most of the time, I post every day, every weekday, sometimes on weekends if I feel like I've got something to say. And then some weeks I've just been like, I'm not feeling it, and I haven't posted at all. But so long as I'm posting more days than I'm not, I'm achieving my goal. So really think about your bare minimum. And then how will you hold yourself accountable? Is there someone who you could buddy up with? Could you make sure that every post that you share it with someone in the DMs who you think might want to comment, or who might be interested in it? Could you schedule it all in buffer so that it just happens and you don't need to make it happen? Really think about that line between, no one is, with the best will in the world, no one is sitting there going, oh, it's 9:37, Siobhan hasn't posted yet. And so it's very easy to, go, oh, well, it doesn't matter. But there's a fine line between that and then actually saying, no, I'm going to commit to doing this. I'm going to put in the work. So what do you need in order to hold yourself accountable? And then what's the journey? So you're going to post on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. What are you telling people to do? What's the next step? Maybe it's to have a freebie of some sort, or to offer a free session, a free download. What are you going to give people in order to get their contact details? Because that is the ultimate goal of all of this. Because don't forget that however many followers you have on social media, you could lose them all overnight if your account was cloned or you were banned or whatever. You need email addresses on an email system. That is the one golden rule of marketing as a small business, so that you own those contacts and you can talk to them regardless of what happens. So what is that invitation going to look like? And what is that value exchange? And the value exchange is they give you your email address, you give them something. It might just be something really small, a little PDF that helps them reframe something or take action on something. So that's your prospect journey. They see your posts, or they see you out there, or they see a Google ad, or they find your website. How are you going to get their email address? That's the key question you need to be asking. And then figure out what that weekly marketing rhythm is going to be. Where are you going to show up? How are you going to commit to that and make sure that happens? And how are you regularly inviting people to take that next step with you, to book a call, to download a freebie, whatever that looks like? It's like a wheel. We're out there grabbing attention, building a relationship with that person somehow, inviting them in the door in a no pressure, no obligation way, and then getting them on a call to convert them. And you've got to be constantly moving that wheel round. And things like sharing testimonials and client stories and examples are obviously, as I've mentioned, a really important part of that. So hopefully you've got a notebook or a piece of paper with loads of ideas on it, and I could do this. And especially if you've got an ADHD brain that's doing ADHD brain pinball right now. But let's break it down, because let's face it, none of this is going to happen unless you make it easy. So why are you doing it? Break it down. Have one smart goal that you're aiming for. There's probably loads of things that you want to achieve, loads of things you want to aim for. Pick one, right? One thing that you think you can reach in probably the next 6 to 12 months, and break it down. So make it specific. I want to take the summer holidays off. Make it measurable. Well, it's six weeks, so that's measurable. Achievable. So for me, maybe actually that means saying at least 4 weeks rather than 6. Relevant. So yeah, it's relevant to me. It's something that I really care about and it's important, and time bound. So I have until the summer holidays to figure out how to do that. So create yourself one smart goal that you're aiming for. And then think about one group of favourite clients. So you might be drawn in a couple of different directions when you do your research. You know, I talk to people a lot of the time who are like, oh, I quite like this group of people, but then I also quite like this group of people. And then I'm trying to attract people that manage teams, but also I'm trying to attract the team members. Pick one, doesn't matter which, so long as you feel excited about finding them. You can go back to other groups of people later on. Just pick one and stick to it. Because if you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. Pick one core message. Hopefully, you've got loads of ideas, especially if you go after this and do some more research. But pick one core message, one thing. If you go out there and look at a lot of the really high-profile content gurus, the good ones, not the shit ones, like Justin Welsh, for example, he just talks about one thing. He talks about creating a sustainable business that allows him to go and have a nice time with his family and his wife. Not about working harder but smarter. Like, he just talks about that in lots of different ways. You know, he shares lots of different reframes and lots of different bits of inspiration, information, but essentially it's one core message. So pick one that is what I like to call the hair on fire problem for your core group of favorite clients. Like, they've probably got 1,000 problems. What's the hair on fire one? What is the one that they're like, oh my God, I need to solve this? What wakes them up at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? Pick that one core message and have one prospect journey. I know this is going to feel potentially challenging, especially for an ADHDer, but just have one journey. Focus on one awareness channel where you're going to find people and connect with them, where they're going to find you, where they are already actively seeking solutions or they're regularly hanging out. And like I said, figure out one value exchange that is going to be something you give them and you get their email address. And then get them on an email list and start regularly talking to them. And the great thing is, if it is a free download, for example, you can automate a little welcome sequence off that. So you don't even need to be regularly sending newsletters. At least just have a few emails that they get to welcome them to your list. And then invite them to a call or tell them about your low ticket offer. Whatever it is, just focus on one place where you're going to attract them, one invitation to one thing, and then one offer that is going to be what they need to solve their hair on fire problem. I know you'll have 1,000 other ideas and you want to create tangible products or do a group program or collaborate with someone else, or fine, you can do all of that. But if you want to attract your favorite clients and get yourself rolling towards that one goal that you've picked, you need people through the door and you need to be converting people and you need to focus and not get distracted, which I know is super hard. But once you start to see success and once you get things rolling, this becomes repeatable and you'll be able to keep doing it for every new idea that you have. And you will learn so much from setting up this process. So in order to support this, what is your one daily habit? Is it to post on social media? Is it to connect with one person who you think might know your ideal client group? Is it to reach out to one organisation a day? Keep it small, keep it simple, keep it sustainable. So what now? Well, we're just about hitting 40 minutes. So if you took the next 20, you could go do some research right now and create yourself a plan. But if you can't, then I really recommend blocking out some time to take action on what I've talked about today. And when you're starting to create a plan, share it with someone else, talk it through. That will really help with the accountability. Don't just keep it in your head. And if you need support with your client attraction strategy, then obviously I can help. I have a service called Brainstorm and Build, which is 4 sessions together to brainstorm all these areas of your strategy and for you to walk away with everything you need to get rolling, including a piece of content that I will write for you with your brand new messaging. If you're interested, book a call, or if you would like to discuss what you've created as a part of just watching this, then I would love to hear about it. So please do drop me an email. And otherwise, I hope you have found today helpful. Good luck attracting those amazing clients.